has President Trump discussing a bunch of things and how he's going to expand an electronics ban to include much of Europe. So talks between European officials last week ended without a ban, and promises by both sides continue talking. So what impact is this uncertainty having to do with the travel industry? So joining us now with some insight on all of that is Gordon Wilson, President and CEO of Travelport. Gordon, such a pleasure to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Only my pleasure. Good afternoon.
So the existing electronics ban basically covers certain parts of U.S.-bound flights from Muslim countries like Jordan and the UAE. So how is it affecting the businesses?
At the moment, in terms of the overall business, not at all, is the honest answer. I think you can see some marginal decline in travel from those countries to America in terms of direct flights. But of course, today you can fly from Jordan to London and then London to New York, and you can have your laptop with you all the way, because obviously, London and the UK is seen as, a better security controlled area, one would assume, by the American authorities. So people are finding ways to still come to America to avoid the laptop ban. I can't say I've seen any major diminution in travel at this point in time. Obviously, Europe, if the ban spread, would be a different thing altogether.
And is the airline industry being impacted by this whatsoever? I would think a lot of people would think if I can't travel with my laptop, I have no interest in flying.
Well, a couple of things are happening. The airline industry is pretty resourceful and entrepreneurial, so already the Middle Eastern carriers who are affected more by the ban are putting laptops on board the plane, so you can bring your information on a stick and you can still work on the plane in terms of your documents, etc., as you need. And of course, a lot of those planes now have Wi-Fi systems, as well. So I think you'll see some more of that. I think you'll see people obviously bringing on more paper,
right,
onto the plane, and/or rerouting themselves, to airports and destinations that I mentioned, whereby the ban doesn't actually apply. I think, sorry to interrupt you, but I think ultimately what you'll have is like a trusted equipment. You have Global Traveller, where you're a trusted traveller. I'm one of those, a Brit coming into America. I think you'll have the same thing for your equipment ultimately, but it depends whether that will come in before anything goes, larger scale with the things that Mr. Trump is doing.
Right.
Well, Gordon, you said that there aren't really impacts now to the bottom line of these companies, so people maybe aren't not traveling. But do you find that there's confusion among your clients about how to manage all of the changing bans in the platforms to communicate with their clients and their customers to kind of figure out how people should be adhering to these bans?
Oh, totally. Because you just don't know which airports is it, and am I allowed to take a laptop? Even myself, I work in the industry, obviously. I went down to Thailand recently over Doha, and I was trying to work, can I take a laptop or not take a laptop? It's not altogether clear. So that's where actually platforms like ours, who can electronically disseminate information down to an individual user onto their mobile device to tell them about, what they need to think about for the trip that they're taking, is really quite essential.
So what have airlines been doing on that front? Have they been sending out push notifications?
Yeah.
Have they been sending out emails? How do they manage all of these changing rules and distribute that information to their flyers?
All of the above, but by far and away the most effective means to do it are push notifications, so it actually goes to the individual in an app, on the day that they're traveling or the day before they're traveling, as part of the proprietary kind of information that you get, and that works very well indeed.
Right.
All right, let's kind of introduce our viewers who might not be familiar with you guys over at Travelport. What do you guys specifically do?
Okay, we're a B2B company, and what we do is we aggregate travel content on industrial scale. So the content of 400 airlines, 650,000 hotel properties around the world, all the big car rental vendors, and we basically provide all that content with search and shopping and analytics. We price 6 billion transactions a day in our system, to people like Expedia, to Priceline, to the corporate travel management houses. We provide mobile apps to people like Singapore Airlines, to Etihad Airlines, to EasyJet in Europe. And last year we transacted $80 billion worth of travel over our platform in 180 countries around the world. So we're not to the consumer, we're the guys that provide the technology behind some of the big brands that people would know.
You're listed at the New York Stock Exchange. You went public about 3 years ago. What kind of trends have you seen over the past 3 years in terms of travel across all of these digital platforms? We're seeing Airbnb, new startups coming online and trying to kind of tap into the travel market, doing more than just kind of the rental shares. So what's most exciting to you that you guys see?
I think it's just the super fast growth of mobile, for us, because to the earlier conversation, the way you can engage with your customer through a mobile app, the way the customers want to sort of stay in an app that can give them all the content. Some of our bigger customers now are seeing 25–30% of all of their business transacted through mobile. So that's a big change that's happening. In terms of traffic flows, you're seeing a burgeoning growth in Asia. For example, our business, we're very big in India. The Indian market in terms of bookings grew at 12% last quarter. We grew at 21%. Because there's a huge Indian middle class able to travel, more and more flights going into India and also domestically within India, and this is a normal aspirational thing. And the great thing about this industry is that at both ends of the demographic spectrum, millennials, generally speaking, like to spend more money on experiences, and some of the best experiences in the world are travel.
Right.
And also the grey pound or the grey dollar, are living longer and healthier, and again, they like to travel, with and spend their retirement dollars.
Sure. So summer now, it's travel season. We're all booking our summer vacations. I'm in the process of doing this as well. I think I'm intrigued if you can clear up either a misconception or a truth on this. Is it true that the best time to purchase your plane tickets is Tuesday mornings? Because I need to know, because I need to book a flight in like 12 hours.
See, if I tell you it is, and you do, and you find it's cheaper the next day, you're going to come and
then
beat
I'm
me.
going to know
Exactly.
the truth about it.
So the great thing about airline pricing is completely fluid, and dynamic. So I don't think there is a best time of the day to book, but there are lots of apps out there which will kind of advise you.
Well, which ones do you like the most? So what are your own secrets? I mean, so for me, I like to use Kayak, and I do Price Predictor, and I set all my alerts, and that's usually my go-to. But is there a platform that you say might be better at predicting those prices than others?
Well, I mean, again, I'm so generic in the sense of I provide automation to so many people. It's like having a favorite child. I don't have a favorite child. So I use anybody that uses me provides a really good service. So that includes Expedia and Priceline and all the guys I've mentioned.
Well, I mean, everybody says they don't have a favorite child, but they do. It's okay. I know for sure I'm definitely my mother's favorite. You guys have Investor Day coming up. Could you tell us anything else that you guys have working down the pipeline for you guys?
Yeah, we're very aggressively moving into providing next generation corporate travel apps. So you talked about Kayak and whatever and how you use them for your personal travel. But obviously, if you work for a company, the company has a duty of care, travel policy profile, probably an authorization process to get travel authorized. And we're busy bringing into the marketplace a product which we built in Australia, and we're bringing it into the UK, and then we'll bring it out more globally, of a next generation tool to sort of do corporate travel, which is really exciting because it has much more extensive content than traditional tools have. The user experience is fantastic. It's real consumer grade experience, and the kind of level of data and analytics you can get about not only the travel but also how long it takes somebody to authorize it, because that can cost you a few $100s if it's not authorized fast enough. If it's not authorized on Tuesday morning or whatever, it's $200 later, more expensive on Wednesday. All of that stuff's coming into the market now with the technology we're providing, and that's pretty exciting. All right, Gordon Wilson, CEO over at Travelport. I'll let you know how my booking tomorrow morning goes on my flight, how cheap it was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
There's still a little more show left. Don't go anywhere. But first, how to make a little cheddar on the side.